Good morning, stamping friends. I'm Brenda Hillard, and I am a independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in north central Minnesota. I'd like to welcome you to episode 406 of Coffee and Create with Brenda. I go live every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. However, um, if you are not, and this doesn't really apply here, but just know that if you miss it, you can come back to Facebook and watch. You just have to search Happy and Create with Brenda, number 406, and this episode will pop up. Also, let your stamping friends know that I upload to my YouTube channel following the live. So, for any of the people that are not fans of Facebook, I do put it up on YouTube Live or my YouTube channel. So, following them. All right. Let's see. I want to make sure that we are live on the right channel. So let's see if that's happening. We are. So that's good. All right. Here we go. I'm going to switch down to my workstation camera and we'll get started. Okay. So a couple of things. I hope you have your um, coffee, essential for Coffee and Create with Brenda. And then I wanted to talk to you too about the two catalogs. So we have our annual catalog that is current and will be active until April of 2025. And let me get the exact date. It's always right on the back cover there. It's right on the back of your, so April 30th of 2025. The one thing I wanted to mention about the catalog is that Designer Series paper is on sale until the end of this month. So you have what, 1 week left to order up those Designer Series papers. Your index is going to be your friend. Just go over here on page 140, look up Designer Series paper. It gives you all of the names and the page number locations for the Designer Series papers. So grab it. Good morning, Nancy. I'm happy you're here. Then the other thing, and a lot of you should have received your catalog in the mail from me. Um, if you haven't received a catalog, please reach out to me and let me know. I'd be happy to share one with you. This catalog starts on September 4th. So what do we have? 2 weeks. And there's some really fun things in there. I'll be sharing a project today that uses one of the suites from the catalog. I cannot open the catalog yet, but I can show you the product. So let me get started here and I'll show you what we have. It's so much stuff spread out whenever I'm creating. It's unbelievable. All right, sip of coffee. The suite of products I'm going to be giving you a sneak peek of today is called the, yeah, and I have to look it up because it's that brand new, but it is called the Regal, I believe it's called the Regal Flora Suite. Let me grab it here. Sorry, you should have had it ready. All right. Well, and now, when you're live, you can't find what you want. So I'm going to go to index, like I tell you, and I'm going to look up suite, and that's not working. I think the suites are probably listed in the front. And they are, oh boy. Well, welcome to Saturday. It's Coffee and Create with Brenda. It's not always perfect, but I can't show you. That's right. So it's called the Regal Winter Suite Collection. And in the suite, it has 2 packs of paper. This paper is so pretty. And the back of it, look at it, it's just as pretty as the front. So I'm going to be using this piece right here, and it's got the pretty peacock plaid on the back. There's another sheet in here. This one has more of a blue tone to it. Um, the floral side is really the same, but the flowers here are more of a purple tone than the red. And then look at the back, it's navy. They're different blues. Isn't that pretty? And there's even a little bit of good morning, Veronica. Good morning, Beth. Good morning, Joyce. Good morning, Mary Manlick. This is awesome. All right. And then there's this, which is the blue and purples. And then on the back, it's got the blackberry bliss. And then more of the florals with green. And this last one, look at this. It's kind of got some brown gray tones to it. And then the back is um, wild wheat. So that's the paper, the designer series paper. And then there is the specialty paper. And this is called the Regal Distressed Pattern. So there's this gold and it's distressed plaid. There is kind of this reddish cherry cobbler. It's real red cherry cobbler. And I think you could even pull in maybe like some, uh, maybe even poppy parade. So pretty. And then this leaf design with the pretty peacock. And this is single-sided, 6 12 by 12 sheets. Okay? So those are the papers that come in the suite. And then there's a stamp set and die called the Regal Flora. And I am going today to be using all of the stamps in here except for this one and the two little stamps. So you'll get a good view of the stamp. And then it's got a 7-piece die set, coordinating die set. And we'll be using all of the dies except for these two. And this label is really cool. So last week I showed you the dies from Unbounded Love and how it cuts the frame and then the solid piece. This one does that same thing and it really is stunning. And then in the suite also there are the Regal Foil adhesive back dots. So pretty. Let me show you all of the colors in here. So you have the greens, the pinks, the burgundies, and the blues. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a lot of gold um, flakes in those little dots that really will accent the gold in the specialty papers. And then look at this beautiful ribbon, you guys. I haven't even opened it yet, but I could not wait for this to come. It is Blackberry Bliss with a gold edge, and it is like so pretty. I just can't wait to create something with that. So let's get started on our card. I'm going to keep the stamps and the dies right up here in the corner. And I have, for my supplies, I have a card base of wild wheat. It measures 5.5 by 8.5, and I have it scored at 4 1/4. I have 2 squares, 3 by 3 inch squares of the designer series paper. And this again was the Regal Winter 12 by 12 designer series paper. This layout that I'm going to show you today works really well for 6 by 6 pieces of paper too. I have a piece of basic beige and I'm going to just use this to stamp um, our floral pieces here. I have another piece of basic beige that measures 3 3/4 by 5. And then I have just a 3/4 inch strip, 3/4 by 4 of basic beige, and I'm going to be stamping a sentiment. Don't worry about the measurements. I will post those on my YouTube channel under the description or the details. I always put the measurements and the supplies. However, the Regal Flora, the Regal Winter Sweet Collection is not available for purchase yet. So you will not find that in my supply items this week. Okay? Right, let's get started. First of all, I want to take my card base and I'm just going to fold that on the score line, get my edges all even. And using my bone folder, I'm just going to give that a really good crease. Then I'm going to take my two 3-inch squares and I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer. I'm going to bring my cutting blade down to the center. And then is what I want to do is in this cutting trough right here, you'll be able to see it right here. I'm going to put the tips of my square in the cutting trough. And the reason I moved my cutting blade is I want to start cutting in the middle of my square. And I just want to make 2 triangles. Okay. I'm going to do it again with our second square. Right. So I've got my 2 triangles. Let's bring our others back in too. So is what we're going to do with this. It's really, really cool. And it works so well with the Stampin' Up! Designer Series papers because our Designer Series papers are double-sided, right? So is what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this triangle this way, and I'm going to take this triangle, and I'm going to add some glue just to the tip. And this is our combo multi-purpose glue. And then I'm just going to set it down on the other triangle. And it's pretty easy to get it on there straight because the um, the pretty peacock paper has a plaid in it. And so you can just kind of follow the lines of the plaid. So there's that one. And now let's do the same thing for this one. Just going to add a little bit of glue. What are you guys thinking about this sweet? Oh, Donna says, good morning, ladies, and Brenda for sharing this with us. Oh, I'm always happy to share. Good morning, Ginger. Oh, Mary, I'm so glad that you figured out Facebook. That's a good thing. Well, I think it's a good thing. I know there's a lot of people that don't care for it, but I think it's all in how you use it and who you follow. And I'm so glad that you guys follow me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So now I've turned those over and it's just the reverse, right? But I'm going to go this way. And then I need to grab some of my Stampin' Dimensionals. Of course I do. And I'm going to put like 6 dimensionals on each one of these pieces. All right. It looks like it's shaping up to be a pretty nice day. I'm hoping to spend the day outside. We'll see. Last night I was working on some stamping stuff. Reached into a file and cut my finger on a manila folder. Ah, man, does that hurt. I hate cardboard cuts in the worst way. So now I'm going to take off these backing from the dimensional. And my first one, I'm just going to set right down here in the corner. I haven't taken the backings off from that one yet. And then I'm going to set this in just so I can kind of eyeball where I'm going with these, okay? Now I can take the backs off this. Isn't this paper so pretty? I really love it. I think it's my favorite paper in the new catalog. And it's not even Christmassy. Like, it is my favorite. All right, I'm just going to put this. I'm going to try to get the same distance in here. But then you also want your corner borders to match. And I feel good about that. I'm just going to press it down. So now our card looks like that. And how simple is this for just Veronica, I agree. Yeah. Okay, so here's our basic layout. Two 3x3 triangles, and look at the pop that we get on this card. I just love it. All right, let's grab our other pieces. So I'm going to bring in my insert. I'm going to put a basic beige insert inside my wild wheat. And the sentiment I want to go inside is wishing I were there to give you a hug. Good. I love it. I love that. I'm going to put this. I'm using the pecan pie, and I'm just going to stamp it right here in the middle. How good is that? I always like when there's the scripted and then the printed font combined, and this is a great set for that. Then on my little banner here, I want to stamp the sentiment, sending love your way. And I already know who I'm sending this card to, so, and I don't think she's on. Let's see. Nope, not yet. All right, I'm going to stamp this sentiment in City Peacock, and I'm just going to stamp that right in the middle of my 3/4 inch strip. Okay, so again, you have the scripted font and the printed font. Right, before I put my Pretty Peacock away, I'm going to bring in my piece of basic beige, and I just want to stamp this lovely leafy branch or sprig from the stamp set. I'm going to stamp it first generation, second generation. Right. And I'm going to bring in this other leafy. This kind of reminds me of like Lily of the Valley, but it's not. It's it's so pretty. I'm going to do that same thing. I'm going to stamp full strength, and then I'm going to do a stamped off version as well. And now I'm going to switch my color, and I'm going to go back to the pecan pie, and I want to grab my triple flower. Now, when you stamp this at first, you look at it and it's like, oh, it doesn't look very nice. But as it dries, it really is, it really is quite pretty. So I'm going to just do a second generation or a stamp off version as well, because I like when the basic beige comes up through. I'm going to do one of just the single flower, and these are those distinctive stamps, so they already have them shaded for us. So at first when we stamp it, it looks kind of like I don't know, it looks not right. But then as the ink dries and absorbs into the paper, um, it really is pretty. And then there's just a tiny little bud, and I'm going to do a couple of those, right? Now, for the sake of saving time, I did already die cut all of these. So I have those in my cute little dish right here. And we'll get started with assembling. I forgot to stamp one thing on here. I like this little branch, and I'm going to try doing I'm going to breathe out on it to add moisture to the ink, and we'll see what that looks like. Ooh, pretty, and then we can see our writing through it. Oh, that works great. Our banner here, I'm going to fishtail the ends on our sentiment strip. And if you've not done this before, I mean, it is nothing new, but if you've not seen it before, it could be fun. So I'm cutting approximately in the center of my strip, and then I'm just going to go from that corner up to my cut line, and I get this fishtailed edge. Same thing over here. Okay. So now with our banner, we only need to put, because these are up on dimensionals, we only need to put adhesive on the outer edges here to hold that in place. So I'm just going to grab my stamp and seal and put a little on each edge. And then I'm just going to lay it across light. Right? So you can see that it's not attached here, right? You see how my scissor can go underneath, but it's on the card, it's secure. And while we're here, I'm just going to add some stamp and seal to the insert. So I'm going to put that right inside our card here. Don't be afraid to try different things with your triangles. It's super fun. I'm going to take out my die cuts here. And the first one I'm going to put down, a lot of them I put down flat, I guess. So I'm just going to add this one right back in here. And then I want to do my leafy piece. This one I'm going to put a dimensional at the top and a little bit of glue at the I'm going to put that right up in here. Then I want one of my full flowers like this. And I am going to put that up on dimensional. And I'm just going to set that right in here. And then I want one of my green leafies. I want to move this just a little bit if I still can. And the reason I'm going to do that is I want to try to cover up that area right there, which I did. I'm going to add some stamp and seal. And I just want to tuck this down in by our flower here. They get to be like floral arranging 101, right? I like that a little bit better. We might need to put one more piece of greenery on this one versus my original, but I'll show you both of them here in just a minute. I'm just going to have this kind of riding down here. And then I'm going to put a dimensional on the end of this little flower. And then I'm just going to tuck that up in here and yet keep it popped up in that space. Yeah, I do think I want one more something up in here. Or down. Maybe it is okay just like it is. I don't want to get too much stuff in there and have it look too cluttered. Yeah, I think I'm good. What do you think? Wow, this looks great. Thanks for sharing. You're welcome. Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? So now that, like I said, the floral arranger in me just keeps wanting to add more and more and more, but I don't really think it needs more. I think it's fine just like it is. Now let me show you something else about it's so funny. I had to look it up. I had no idea what the word even was. And then when I started looking at different demonstrators' posts, I saw that the all-time great Patty Bennett didn't know what they are either. They're called druzy adhesive back elements. It's like, what is druzy? Like I've never even heard of that word. Well, it's what druzy means is they're like crystals. These are so pretty. I mean, seriously, they sparkle like diamonds. And there's two colors in here, and I don't know what they're calling them exactly. I don't know that it's gold, but it feels like silver and gold. But I took some of these and I just put them right in this little slot. And as all it does is give some visual interest and some depth to that area. So there we have our card for today using the Regal Winter Sweet Collection. So here's my prototype card, and then here's my card that we just did. You guys, I hope you'll give these 3x3 squares a try. I have a few other cards that I want to share with you using 3x3 squares. So maybe tune in next week and let's see what else happens with the 3x3 squares, okay? All right. Well, like I said, I'm going to pop this up here. If you have not received your mini catalog from me, be sure to let me know because I always am happy to share catalogs. If you do not have a demonstrator and you would like a catalog, please reach out to me, okay? All right. So I will respond to comments as soon as we close down the live. I hope you have a great weekend and I look forward to seeing you next Saturday. Bye for now.